Hi, this is Frank Perry with Riverpoint Technology. What I want to show you today is how you can build your own fully functional VMware lab environment, uh, including VCSA appliance and nested ESXi instances, all using Terraform Cloud. So let's take a dive in here, and I can show you what our setup looks like. So this is our physical lab equipment here. We just have a single ESXi host running in our lab with a single vCenter server. And as you can see from the IP addresses here, this is on a private network. This is not exposed to the internet, but we can still use Terraform Cloud to interact with this by using some new features, most notably the new Terraform Cloud Agents. So let's take a dive in here, and I can show you how this works. So this is our Terraform Cloud environment for Riverpoint Technology. We have some code that we've deployed in modules that will deploy some nested ESXi instances for us, and as well as a VCSA appliance and a third module that will deploy some configuration and tie the two together. So let's take a look here at our workspace. So this workspace will execute the build out of the nested ESXi hosts as well as the VCSA appliance. If I kick this off here, the default is to build 4 hosts and VCSA. So let's go ahead and build this guy. I can show you what's going on in the background here. So typically with Terraform Cloud, you would, for those who are familiar, you have different execution mode options. You're probably familiar with the remote execution mode and the local execution mode. So remote being the Terraform Cloud instance would actually handle the plans in the applies itself. Obviously, because our vSphere environment for our lab is behind a firewall and not exposed to the internet, that won't work for us. We could use a local execution mode, but then I'm relying on my laptop in this case to be VPN connected, and part of deploying VCSA includes some pretty large file transfers. So what's really great about Terraform Cloud, a new offering for the business tier, is this agent execution mode, which you can see we're using here. So in this case, Terraform Cloud will actually proxy these plans and applies to our Terraform Cloud agent, which is actually running inside of our physical lab. So that's some pretty cool stuff there that lets us still leverage use all the benefits of Terraform Cloud while still maintaining our security of our vSphere environment, not having to expose it. So let's take a quick check on it runs, and apply confirmation. So here again, what it's going to build is our VCSA environment and 4 ESXi nested hosts. So we're going to go ahead and do a confirm and apply. Build it. Let it do its magic. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. So we can see that the apply is now finished. And if we take a look at our output, we can see that we have successfully built a VCSA appliance, so TF vCenter 01. We have our information about our connection here, and we also have some outputs that we're going to use here in a little bit. I'll show you how that's going to work here in a second. Let's take a quick little peek at our resources that we deployed. So here are our ESXi nested instances, And there's our TF vCenter 01. And we can even take a look at the console of each of these. You can see there's our TF vCenter 01. And here's one of our nested ESXi instances. So it's got a customized name. It's picked up a DHCP address, so we could statically assign it. So that all looks good. So it looks like our code built our VCSA and our nested ESXi successfully the way we wanted. So that kind of brings us to the next portion of our code, which is in a separate workspace here, pointing back to the configuration of VCSA. So what this is going to do is take care of all of the kind of basic configuration of VCSA. So it's going to create a data center for us. It's going to create a compute cluster. It's going to create a couple folders, distributed virtual switch, resource pool, and it's going to join the hosts that we just created into that compute cluster. So it's doing that through the use of remote state lookups for those outputs that I just showed you from our previous run. So it's going to use all of that information from that previous run to build and configure what should be a kind of working lab environment, all from nested ESXi and VCA deployment, all driven through Terraform. So if I wanted to, I could go in here right now, since my run completed here, I could just go ahead and queue a plan. But instead, what I want to do is take advantage of another Terraform Cloud feature, which is called Run Triggers. So you can get there from Settings, Run Triggers, because really what I want to have happen is I want this workspace to be automatically triggered whenever I have a successful run from the workspace that's building my nested ESXi and my VCSA appliance. So I am going to choose my VMware Lab build out workspace. I'm going to add that workspace. And that will successfully link these two together so that whenever the lab build out environment workspace completes successfully, it's going to automatically trigger the configuration of VCSA. So to kind of trigger that into happening and to kind of illustrate what that looks like, I'm going to make a minor change here, and I'm actually going to increase the host count. So in our environment, that's as simple as changing the value for this variable number of ESXi hosts. And let's say, let's just increase that to 6. Save that, and I'm going to manually queue this plan. Say increasing host to 6. Queue the plan. And now, whenever this completes, it should automatically trigger our configuration. So let's keep an eye on that and see how that goes. So here's our plan. While we're waiting on the plan, show you this is the newly created vCenter instance. So we can log in here and take a look and see what this looks like. It should be an empty shell at this point. Bounce back over here so we can see that we are going to get a couple of new hosts added. Let's go ahead and confirm and apply this to kick that off. This will take just a couple minutes to run. And of course, this is going to take a minute to log in here. Here we can see the creation of our machines started. See, we actually created 2 new ESXi, nested ESXi instances in just 17 seconds. We have a wait counter in here just to let these things come up and get a DHCP address so that we can capture what their IP address is with a data lookup in state. But now we can see we're logged into vCenter. and it is empty. There's nothing in here. But once this run completes, we should have the trigger of the config happen automatically. Now you can see that the creation is just about done. We're just about to hit the 3-minute threshold here. And there we go. Here's our new outputs. So plan and apply finished successfully. Now notice I have not manually queued this plan whatsoever. It has just been automatically invoked by our lab build-out workspace. So if I go into our plan here for the config, you can see that it pulled in all 6 of our hosts, and it's going to create a resource pool. It's going to add our hosts into the cluster. It's going to create some folders for us, create a distributed virtual switch, our data center, and all of the various components of our compute cluster. So let's go ahead and apply this. Confirm and apply. And then as the apply happens here, we'll flip back and forth between our Terraform Cloud window and our vSphere client, web client. And you should see all of these components start to get created all through the power of Terraform. So here we can see the hosts getting added inside the data center. Then we see our compute cluster being added, the hosts being pulled into the compute cluster. We have a resource pool. We have a couple of folders that we created for organizational purposes. No storage in this environment. And our distributed virtual switch. If we go into our apply here, we can see that it's created all of these for us. It was successful. And that was triggered automatically by the apply from our other workspace here, building out the lab environment. So pretty cool stuff. The power of the run triggers in combination with the new Terraform Cloud Agents, really powerful and pretty cool stuff. Hope you enjoyed the demo, and please, if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to reach out to us at Riverpoint Technology. Thank you.